now that I now that I had time to process this pay-per-view, I can finally reveal it. Now, I do want to apologize in advance. This is a very late review. By the time the pay-per-view was over, I only had time to drop off Brandon. Then I had to go home and then get ready for work the following morning. So it's just, it was very hectic. So that's why the review is coming out late, because of that particular reason. Just I was busy. I had work today. Yes, I worked on Labor Day, but thankfully I get double pay. So Raw ended. So now I'm going to try to give you my thoughts about All Out pay-per-view. And spoilers. I think this was the greatest AEW pay-per-view they've done thus far. This was, after the end of this pay-per-view, besides one match, Joe, I left wanting. I just had the biggest smile on my face. I just had fun with the show. That's all I want. I want an exciting, memorable show. You want great matches? You got it. You want good storytelling? You got it. You want returns and debuts? Oh, you got it. It was. I'm still trying to everything. I'm still trying to process everything. It's just, man, Chicago, you're fucking. So I'm not gonna get into every single little pointer. I'm not gonna really get into every single detail about match. I'm not gonna talk about every move for move because I want to quickly get to bed. But I do feel like I should do a review for you guys. I've been doing AEW reviews for a while, and I figure it's only fair I talk about quite possibly their best show today and probably going to be pay-per-view of the year. I've got half a year left. AEW still got another pay-per-view. I know we got the G1 Climax coming up with the matches they're going to put on, so it's possible. But as of right now, AEW's got the runner-up for the best pay-per-view of the year. So let's start off with the opener. We had Miro versus Eddie Kingston for the AEW Championship. Just a stiff match, and Eddie Kingston's over as shit. It's not surprising. I mean, Eddie Kingston, I've become a huge fan of his. As an in-ring worker, he's nothing special, but it's his words, it's his promos that really got him over. He literally a contract because of a promo. He literally talked himself into a contract. And it's just a great story feeling. And these two just went out there, beat the piss out of each other. It was block chopping, almost like hard hitting, just style suplexes, just beating the piss out of each other. 15 minutes. And the crowd was hot for Kingston. They wanted desperately to see Kingston win. And at the end of the day, Miro retained. It was I personally think they should do Miro and Sammy Guevara next, and I think Sammy Guevara should win the TNT Championship. That should do if I were booking it. If I were booking it, I'd do that. So let's see here. Next, we got another hard-hitting match. Basically, your New Japan style match. John Moxley versus Kojima. Again, another solid match. For a guy that's 50 years old, and he's actually still pretty. He can still. And I know a lot of people were let down, like, oh, why is Kojima here? Why couldn't we get Tanahashi or Okada? Well, they're saving those guys for the G1. Why risk those guys coming in and then not being able to travel to the G1? Because G1 is the most important wrestling tournament, period. And they're going to want the best. And they're probably not going to use Kojima, so they figure, well, we'll send Kojima over to the States because he's been wrestling in the States, like in Impact and stuff like that. So it's like we got no real plans for him. He's just a legend, so we'll put him here. The match was a solid match. You know, Moxley retained. That's all that really mattered. But what people are going to remember the most is what happened. And Brandon was watching this show with me. I knew who it was as soon as the music started and I saw the word "The King" in the back of the Titantron, but took the name for Brandon to go, shit. Who makes his AEW debut? The King. Minoru Suzuki. Chicago lost their shit. Suzuki came out with that evil grin. Moxley had the look of like all of us going, fuck my life. Moxley and Suzuki get it on. They start trading shots until eventually Suzuki gets the better of him and drops a pile driver. And on Dynamite this Wednesday, for the first time in Dynamite history, Moxley versus Minoru Suzuki on free TV in only their second match, the first match being back at the New Beginning show. I think that was in early 2020, last year. So this is a rematch from that match back in New Japan. Except this time, there's no championships and it's on free TV on Dynamite. I am fucking looking forward to that match. Suzuki, God, I am so happy he's in the States so much. We're AEW, even CM Punk, and he posted on Twitter as soon as Suzuki came out, like a few minutes after Suzuki came out after a segment, Punk just one word just said, fuck. Even Punk realized, like, fuck, we're screwed. So, like I said, Moxley and Kojima was a good match, but Suzuki came out just, holy shit. Just holy shit. Next, we get Dr. Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. For a match that probably had the worst builds, I think we can all admit that. I'm going to say this right now. For a little over 10 minutes, that's as the match was, I am going to say this without any hesitation, without any trolling. This was the best Britt Baker match I've seen since Thunder Rosa in that Lights Out match. Wow, Britt Baker actually showing that she's got talent. She's not just some character. She's just not some mouthpiece. She can actually wrestle. Thank you. That's all I ask you for, a 5-star performance. I'm just asking for a good performance, a good match. And for the little over 10 minutes this match had, it wasn't boring. There wasn't anything I noticed that was botching. There wasn't really anything big or slow. It didn't overstay as well. Chris Statlander looked great. Britt Baker looked great. She even hit a Panama Sunrise from the top row, which was not so. And then, of course, when we get to the end of the show, oh, yeah. By the end of the day, Britt Baker retained. So, kind of figured out what was going to happen. We knew Chris Statlander wasn't going to win. Will Chris become a future women's champion? I can see her being a champion in the near future. But as smart move is to keep the belt on Britt Baker, because I promise you the eventual match AEW is going to do is Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. That is the match that's going to happen. And whether that's Full Gear, whether they want to say that for Double or Nothing next year, personally, Britt Baker hold on to that belt for that long. Latest, I think, should be Full Gear. I think she should hold on to that belt to at least Full Gear and then Thunder Rosa. But it also depends on what they want to do with her next opponent, which we'll talk about in a little second. But overall, I thought this was a really good match. Both women just impressed me. It was just, I got nothing else to say. It's just really good. Good job, Britt. Good job. Then we get on to, in my opinion, probably the match tonight. We have a steel cage match for AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Lucha Brothers challenging the Young Bucks. I can't recap this entire match. I'm not going to recap anything about this match, at least move for move. All I'm going to say is this. The Lucha Brothers entrance, the match itself, some of the unique spots they did, thumbtacks on shoes, the close near falls, and the post operation. That's really all you need to do. That's the best way to describe this match. That's what it had for you. Crazy spots. Phoenix going on top of the cage and doing a dive. I mean, we all knew Phoenix was going to dive off the fucking cage. And that cage ain't that WWE. It's like 10 feet, 12 feet in the air. This thing had to be at least 20 feet. Like, holy shit, this thing's high. Pentagon's a man, or Phoenix, I should say. Phoenix is the one that's a madman. Pentagon's more of the brawler. He likes to fight, but Phoenix is just out of this world. It's basically Ricochet with a fucking mask on. It's insane. But the Lucha Brothers and new championships, they finally win the AEW Tag Team Championships. I can't complain one bit. I'm a fan of Lucha Brothers. They finally won the tag team titles, and it's great. It's just a great moment. I really have nothing else to say about this match because it just too many things to talk in the match. Just go watch it. Seriously, just go watch it. Fucking just incredible match. My opinion, match of the night. Then we have our first come down match. Now, this match was originally supposed to be on the pre-show. It's the 21-woman Casino Battle Royal for a future AEW Women's World Title match. Now, this match was supposed to be on the buy-in show. However, because Pac and Andrade, their match got canceled because of travel issues with Pac. Andrade and Pac's match is now moved to Rampage this Friday. And so they put this match on the main show, and then they put that 10-man tag, random 10-man tag on the buy-in instead. So I'm just going to say right now, again, I'm not going to talk about every single elimination. I'm not going to talk about who eliminated exactly who, all those spots. The match was fine for what it was. But let's all talk about the Joker entrant. The Joker entrant, the final person, the number 21 person in this Battle Royal, is everybody that we were expecting. It was somebody we all wanted, somebody that they desperately need for their women's division, the former Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho. She comes up, a really good reaction by her, and comes down to Ruby and Thunder. And I am going to say this now. Thunder Rosa beat Britt Baker at Full Gear to win the championship. And then I would build immediately to a Thunder versus Ruby Soho one-on-one match at Double or Nothing. That is a match I would pay $50 alone to see. I am a huge fan of Thunder Rosa, and I'm not just saying that because I'm buddies with her on Facebook. I'm not just saying that, okay? I am legit a fan of her work. And Ruby Soho, I've been a fan of her work for a while too. So there's a match I can get behind, and we got basically a little teaser. Ruby Soho eliminates Thunder Rosa, so Ruby Soho is going to get the first shot. And like I said, I don't know when this match is going to happen. Maybe they're going to do this match at Full Gear. I would say do this match at the New York City show. on September 22nd. Build up for a couple weeks as a big match. Because that New York City show is going to be that's going to be I think a stadium show basically. You're going to want to put on the best memorable matches possible. And I think doing a women's match like Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho, I think would be a good addition. And if I were booking, I have Britt Baker win by cheating, of course. Don't have her clean. You want to keep Ruby somewhat strong, so have Britt Baker win by cheating. And then that leads to ultimately Thunder Rosa become a contender at Full Gear, fights Britt Baker at Full Gear, beats Britt to become champion. And then you have Thunder Rosa to the belt all the way to Double or Nothing, where eventually you do Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho, and then you have Ruby win the title there. That's how I would book it. So there is that possibility. That good things. But the Battle Royal itself, it was fine for what it was, but Ruby Soho winning was a great moment. I'm happy for her. I'm glad she's here. Because like I said, this is starting to get some notice now. And with the signing of Thunder Rosa, they got Jamie Hayter now, and now Ruby Soho. There's a lot of women talent out. AEW should definitely keep an eye out. I know they're still trying to sign people. I know like Bray Wyatt should be if Bray Wyatt's interested, you get Bray Wyatt. And I would not mind seeing get Buddy Matthews. But unless it's like a really big name, it's Braun Strowman, you don't really need to sign any more like big name male stars. Maybe hire some newer guys. Maybe they're well known, but not like huge names. And that all WWE guys. But if you're going to hire any more people from WWE, hire some people from the women's division, like a Ruby Soho. That's personally what I would do. Next, we got the final fight, Chris Jericho versus MJF. And if Jericho had lost, he would have retired. That was kind of the stipulation they did where I kind of went, okay, Jericho's winning. But they did get me for a split second that Jericho was. The match was basically like every other match that they had. It was basically an old school wrestling match. You know, these guys work together. But basically towards the end of the match, MJF caught Jericho with Floyd, the baseball bat. He hits his own version of the Juice Effect. He covers. And just as soon as Aubrey Edwards hits a 3, Jericho hits his foot on the barrel just barely on time. And for a second, they're playing MJF's music. And I'm thinking, holy shit, they actually gave the win to MJF. But I figured, oh no, they're going to restart. And of course, they did. They end up restarting, and then Jericho and MJF wrestle for another minute or two, and then Jericho locks in the walls of Jericho and defeats MJF. So this feud is over. I will say this. I will give them credit. They actually give these guys an actual feud. And this was building for at least almost a full year. I'll give them credit. They really did do a good job at building this and make this personal. But I will say that Jericho, this should be the final time. If these two are going to wrestle again, it should not be for a very long while. It shouldn't. It happened for a while. That's personally what I would do. So if this really is the final fight, Jericho needs to move on with somebody else. You know, maybe Jericho fights Miro. I know that's kind of a weird matchup to do. But, you know, it's something different for Jericho to do. And MJ, even though MJ lost, it's not going to hurt him. Because my prediction is this, and this is how I said I would book it. I would have Heyman win the world title at full beating Omega. And then I would say like Double or Nothing as well. You do Heyman and MJF in the main event, and MJF becomes the new champion. Again, that's how I would do it. Because I want to start also building these younger guys up. For all, the match was still good, but this does need to be the final time these guys wrestle. Then we get on to this match. Darby Allin versus the man that has been returning to the ring after over 7 years, CM Punk. This was the match I was looking forward to the most, and basically it got people interested in the show besides the rumors about a certain American Dragon coming in. This was the reason why people come to the show. This was the reason why people order the pay-per-view. They wanted to see their hometown boy CM Punk, and not just Chicago's hometown guy back and wrestle, but for a lot of people were big fans of CM Punk. And there were some people like myself that kind of gave up on, yeah, Punk's never going to return. He's done with wrestling. And then now look what happened. He's back. He's full-time AEW, and this was his debut match at AEW. This was his match to pro wrestling. So the ultimate question was, this is not about a win or a loss. Although we kind of figured Punk was going to. It's obvious. But this was never about, is Darby going to get buried? Which he did not. This was all about, can Punk still go? What does Punk have in the tank? And for what he did this match, he didn't seem to be rusty. In fact, he looked pretty good out there. Now, I'll say we didn't really get we didn't springboard maneuvers. We didn't get elbow drop. We didn't even see the Anaconda Vice. We basically saw the basic maneuvers of Punk. We saw TS, we saw the high knees, we saw the leaping back kick that he usually does, which, by the way, he did a great job of that. We saw a lot more technical grappling from Punk. And Darby's job was to perform as well as he can and give Punk a fighting chance and to sell for. And Punk ended up winning with the GTS, and both times Punk hit 2 GTSs, and Darby sold them really well, and Punk won. And there was no Sting, there was no 2.0, there was nobody. It was a straight one-on-one match, just two individuals going at it. And after the match, I thought it was pretty damn good. Now, I do admit, I kind of wish they did more. I'm not going to be too mad because I remember that this is still Punk's first match. I guarantee once Punk starts getting more rain and he starts wrestling more, then eventually he'll get more comfortable. And then eventually we're going to start seeing Punk do some more stuff in the ring. So for time being, this was a good return/debut of Punk. And now going forward, hopefully the more times he wrestles, the more he'll do some more creative spots, whether maybe that's a springboard once in a while, the elbow drop, maybe doing some other maneuvers that Punk is known for. I would love to see him do the Pepsi plunge. That's what I will. Will he do it? I have no idea. Yeah, guys. Yeah, so, sorry, that was my phone. But overall, yeah, it was a great showing for Punk. So hopefully now this means we'll see Punk in the near future, and hopefully as time goes by, he'll get more comfortable in the ring, and we'll see more of him. Next, Paul White defeated QT Marshall. Next match, moving on. Next, the main event. I said this too. If they were going to main event with Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for AEW World Championship, they had to be saving for a debut. They had to be. And I was right on one of them. The other one was like, oh, that's just an added bonus. So Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage. Again, I'm not going to go every single spot. All I'm going to say is this match was great. It was a great main event. Although at this point the crowd was kind of dead. They were third. But the match itself was great. I think Christian and Omega worked well together. These two just work really well with each other. They count each other's moves. There's some close near falls. The finish came when Omega hit a one-winged angel from the top rope onto the mat with Christian. That looked like it sucked. It was a cool finish and way Christian, so Christian is no longer undefeated. After the match, Omega and the Super Elite, they come out and they beat down on Christian. Actually, Jurassic Express come out to try to save the day, and they get beaten down. And Omega's just talking some shit, and out of nowhere, the lights go out. And the first thought, and all the fans were thinking was, it's Bryan Danielson. There were rumors that he was going to be coming in because there were reports about the New York City show possibly being canceled. So they wanted to bring Bryan Danielson. So we thought Bryan Danielson was coming out. Instead, it's the newest free agent who just had his final takeover match against Kyle O'Reilly. Free agent no more. We have the returning and debuting Adam Cole, baby. We all kind of figured Adam Cole was secretly going to come to AEW. Oh, man, I did not expect him to come this soon. When he showed up, I was a little surprised. I'll give credit where credit's due. Brad said that, hey, he might show up tonight. I was like, oh, maybe, but I'm guaranteeing more Bryan Danielson. So Adam Cole came out. It was great. Adam Cole teased Omega, and he ended up super kicking Jungle Boy. And Adam Cole's the newest member of the Super Elite. And again, they're talking trash. And Omega's about to sign off. The pay-per-view looks like it's about to end. Out of nowhere, we hear Rise of the Valkyrie, a variation of the Rise of the Valkyrie theme. And then it went into his different music, generic music. And out comes the man who earlier this year main evented WrestleMania and now is the closing act of AEW's biggest pay-per-view of the year, Bryan Danielson. The crowd loses it again like they did with Adam Cole. Bryan Danielson, Jurassic Express, and Christian Cage stare down the Super Elite. They beat down. And the crowd, and the one thing about the crowd after this moment, one thing I noticed, they were not chanting Bryan, they were not chanting Cole, they were chanting AEW. The crowd lost their goddamn minds. And at the end of the show, Brandon and I were speechless. The most common thing Brandon said throughout the entire end of that show, all the way to the car ride, was just, wow. 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 I don't think I've ever heard Brandon, for a wrestling show, constantly say the words wow all over again and almost be completely speechless in a great way. From the matches themselves, from the crowd, and of course, Minoru Suzuki showing up, Ruby Soho, and of course, Cole and Bryan showing up in the main event, the post-main event to close. If this does not get the most, if this is not the most bought pay-per-view of all time in terms of AEW, not get the highest buy rate, I will be surprised. Because the highest rated buy rate pay-per-view as of right now, at least for AEW, is WWE's Revolution earlier this year. And the main event was Omega and Moxley and the exploding barbed wire death match. Which match was great, but it was all ruined by the botch explosion. But that was also the night Sting made his in-ring return in a segment tag team street fight. That has 159,000 buys. The most AEW thus far. This is, I'll be stunned if this does not surpass it. Before one said this was the most watched pay-per-view, they have the most buy rates. So we're going to wait and see what the buy rates are. I'm extremely looking forward to see what the buy rates are. Show. more than anything. Overall, I left the show just fucking happy. 9 out of 10. The only reason I gave it 9 out of 10, there was like maybe one or two little things I didn't like. Obviously, the QT Marshall and Paul White just fall off. That did not need to be on pay-per-view. Maybe there was like one or two little nitpicks throughout the show, but out of that, I enjoyed it. I love Watanabe wanting more. I was genuinely excited for Dynamite. I'm excited to see where things go now. So many things, seeds were planted. There's a lot going on in this company, and it's fun. It is so fun. So with that, guys, that's going to do it here for my AEW All Out review. Just want to give you guys a quick review, give you my quick thoughts about the show. It's getting late. I got to get ready for a week. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Comment down below. Tell me your thoughts about this show. Did you like it? Did you not? What was your match tonight? Agree with me? Was this AEW's best pay-per-view? And even give me an estimate on what you think the buy rate will be. Take a guess. But other than that, take care, my peeps. Good night. See you guys next time.